Hello, my darlings! I'm Seren Briar, and welcome to BiteNotes, the recap show for the Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle ATL by night. Tonight, we look back at Season 1, Chapters 1 and 2. Now, let's sit back, relax, and recap a vampire story. Chapter 1, The Call. We begin with a brief history of Atlanta. The city used to be a Camarilla stronghold until the final nights when the Sabbat tore Kindred Society apart in the 90s and early 2000s. Many Kindred were turned during that time, but were never properly told what had happened to them. Now, Atlanta is rebuilding, and has a new prince and a new council of Primogen. This reformed Camarilla allows even the Gangrel and Bruja clans to join, but the Second Inquisition is looming. Melisande Leston-Brace, played by Brittany Trambauer-Smith, is a Bruja and a fiery political commentator on CNN. She meets with Falcon, the Bruja Primogen, who informs her that Tilly Harris, the Malkavian Primogen, is missing. No one has heard from her for a few days, and she failed to handle the cleanup when a Malkavian drained someone dry. Falcon took care of it, but they still need to find Tilly. To assist in that, Falcon suggests that Melisande get some other kindred to help her. She provides one already. Cirrus, played by Dustin Fletcher, a gruff and quiet guy with a snazzy scarf who seems more than capable of handling any danger, just as long as it doesn't involve social skills. Mel calls someone she knows with some experience in crime scenes. Aaron, played by Tyler Sutherland, a gangrel who works in forensics for the police department. Aaron hasn't heard anything about an exsanguinated victim, but he's here to help. He invites Anton Krovopuskov, a Tremere and history professor at Emory University, played by Zachary Valdo. Everyone gathers at the Athenaeum, Anton's haven inside the Historical Preservation Society he operates. The place seems to be haunted by someone who giggles and likes to boop noses. Once Mel has filled everyone in on the situation, Anton decides that this is downstairs work. He gathers a vial of blood from everyone to adjust his wards, and they enter the subterranean level of the Athenaeum. It's full of kindred-related books, artifacts, and components, and a decent number of Dolly Parton posters. Across town in the King and Queen buildings, Thomasina Elena Cuesta, the Ventru Superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools, played by Leona Rohr, is in conversation with her primogen, Tabitha Hernandez. Tabitha tells her that Tilly's ghoul Jacob has been doing all of Tilly's shopping, which she usually does herself. Thomasina will probably be getting a phone call about finding her, and doing this is mandatory. As Thomasina is dismissed, her phone rings. It's Mel, calling her at Falcon's suggestion. Melisande and Thomasina's relationship is catty, at the least. Thomasina arrives at the Athenaeum, driven by Philip, her chauffeur. It turns out that Thomasina and Anton dated briefly, although they didn't know the other was a vampire.
So, seems we run in more similar circles than I thought.
I'm pretty shocked. I can't hide that. Not even a little bit.
Which clan?
You need to ask.
No, I'm not shocked at all. All right. So
I'm sorry. How do you guys know? How do you know each other?
Some of us have better taste in films than others. Some of us have better taste in cultural displays than others. Some of us have better taste in an evening out together.
some of us ghost on phone calls.
Oh,
Some
I
of us
see.
are busy. It's fine.
Some of us have more important things to do.
Finally, all together, the group decides that their first move will be to find Jacob. Anton uses blood sorcery to determine his recent movements, which directs them to Little 5 Points. Anton leaves the basement last, stashing the vials of everyone's blood in a secret trapdoor under one of his filing cabinets. The coterie follows the trail illuminated by Anton's blood sorcery to a used and vintage clothing store called Rackarama. Jacob came here to set up a delivery, and Anton convinces the store's employee to let him deliver it instead. They leave with a package and an address. Cirrus has another contact he wants to check in with, and takes his leave. He'll have Falcon reach out if need be, and does not share his own contact information. He meets his guy at a diner before going back to his haven. The rest of the group goes to the delivery address, a 3-story Victorian-style home with a wraparound porch. The underside of the porch is painted haint blue. They bring the package to the front door, and Mel recognizes Jacob when he answers it. Jacob is very reluctant to let them inside, as the house is undergoing repairs and is in no condition for company. But Thomasina uses Mesmerize on him to gain entry. As they go inside, a work truck pulls up, and men dressed like the Secret Service spread out around the perimeter of the property. The house does not appear to be under construction, and the floor of every room is covered in tiny 3x3 white tiles. As Melisande attempts to bully Jacob into telling them where Tilly is, a high-pitched voice curses from down the hall. Anton goes to find the source and finds Tilly, wearing a powder blue dress with her hair haphazardly braided, sitting on the floor. Most of the tiles in this room have been covered with individual tiny paintings. Tilly is very distraught about a bottle of paint she spilled. Anton explains that everyone is worried about her, and she begins pacing the room, convinced that they're all mad at her. She yells at Anton to leave, and everyone else runs to see what's the matter. Tilly is rambling about how she didn't even want to be a primogen, but she was the only one, and now she has to make the house a home for all the other Malkavians. But the tiny paintings on the floor need to be finished first, which will take about 45 years. The coterie asks Tilly to just let Falcon know she's okay, and assure her that Falcon isn't mad at her. After some convincing, she promises she will. Tilly also tells them that the men outside are her gardeners. She has them wear suits to look intimidating. Satisfied that Tilly is okay, the group leaves. Meanwhile, Cirrus arrives at his small 2-story house in Decatur. He uses a hidden door in the kitchen to go down into the cellar and retrieve his payment.
He picks it up, sets it on a small table. As the lights turn on and you see the various weapons and whatnot hanging on the wall. And he goes over to a map of the entire Metro Atlanta area that has several little pins in it. He picks one out, he puts it at Ragorama, and then he picks up another one of the same color and puts it in Marietta at the address that is Tilly's house. Okay. As he opens up the package, he pulls out the first thing. As he looks at the map, he picks it up and just kind of inhales as he brings the heart to his lips and takes a bite, as he then pulls up the single vial and looks at it, as he then walks over to a digital safe, as he punches it in, opens it, and sits it with the other vials that are in there, as he continues to stare at the map of the various pins.
Creepy! Chapter 2, Lost in Wonderland. After the events of Chapter 1, Tilly made contact with Falcon, who expressed her appreciation to the coterie. Everyone but Cirrus is now gathered at the Athenaeum, agreeing that finding Tilly could have gone much worse. Thomasina is skeptical and concerned that no one checked the house first, and Aaron doubts how okay Tilly really is, but Anton and Melisande assure him that for a Malkavian, she's pretty normal. Aaron decides to crash at Anton's and the girls go home. Anton walks them out and has a bit of a tiff with Thomasina about why their relationship didn't work out. After she leaves in a huff, he talks to the air, accusing someone of listening. The ghost drops her unseen passage and turns out to be Hexadecimal, his Nosferatu friend. Hex admits to being worried about Anton before everyone turns in for the day.
But anyway, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to tap her on the nose. You were worried about me.
I don't appreciate the call out. And she's going to smooth her few thick dreads back on her mostly bald head. Say, look, I would be very sad if you met the final death, and I'm going to leave it at that.
You know, one of these days you can be open about how you feel.
Yeah, no, and she's going to go unseen.
A few nights later, everyone is back in their respective homes. Thomasina, Anton, Aaron, and Melisande all receive a knock on their doors. A handsome blonde young man dressed as a Victorian footman delivers a lavender envelope with gold leafing and their names in beautiful calligraphy to them all. Inside is a card with an elegant floral print, inviting them to the home of Miss Olivia Grace, the Toreador Primogen, at midnight. Everyone arrives on time to a beautiful Italian Renaissance Revival home made of bright red brick with white molding. They are instructed to park inside the gate, and a white and gold horse-drawn carriage takes them to the house itself. Elijah, the man who delivered the invitations earlier, greets them and brings them inside. The house is ostentatious, bordering on gauche, filled with portraits and tapestries. Elijah leads them to a library where Miss Olivia is waiting for them.
And inside there is a woman, poised in stately perfection, on a deep purple velvet chaise lounge. She is wearing pristine white Victorian long skirt with pleated ruffle around the edge, a tight jacket with puffed out shoulders. Her blonde hair is styled up into a Gibson girl style with a wide brim hat filled with flowers and feathers. She could almost be mistaken for an old painting until she smiles at you. My dearest little cherubs, it's so wonderful to see you.
Miss Grace.
I hurry over to her, hand outstretched. Olivia, it's so great to see you.
She goes, oh, my darling, you look wonderful.
So do you. Is that a new hat?
Absolutely. The boys made it for me the other day.
Oh, it's perfect.
Thank you. Well, I do apologize for the quick hour. It's so hard to throw a party these days. We have to be so careful.
Well, it's quite a party, and may I say the tapestries downstairs are exquisite. Can I discuss a few things with you about your dealers?
Absolutely.
My heavens, those were... Oh, and not to mention, I'm seeing some Christmas cards here from far, far long ago. My goodness gracious. I'm seeing a couple of... I'm overwhelmed. If I could have a pulse, I would be sweating right now, I swear.
I will take that of the highest compliment. Anyway, please sit.
She lets them all know that although they did a wonderful job of finding Tilly, it was all a ruse. She needed to make sure they could work together before giving them the task the Primogen truly have in mind: finding the lost Childer. The lost Childer are all of the kindred turned and abandoned during the final nights. The Primogen have been trying to pick them up where and when they can, but there are simply too many of them for the Council to do that and their other duties. This coterie, dubbed the Shepherds, will be given leads on Lost Childer, and it is their job to find them and bring them back to Olivia. She will put the Lost Childer through school, teaching them about kindred life and manners and the Masquerade, before turning them over to their respective Primogen. This is a very important task. Lost Childer in the wild, not knowing what to do or how to stay hidden, puts everyone at risk. However, they should be brought in carefully and unharmed. Unlike these four, Cirrus is a free agent, although he is still part of the Shepherds, and will be helping them whenever he's available. Elijah presents a box with 4 cobalt blue flip phones, securely encrypted by Dot Matrix, the Nosferatu Primogen. As they're dismissed, Thomasina compliments Olivia's tapestries. Olivia offers that she can pick one out and it'll be delivered to her. Thomasina is delighted. Anton confides in the rest of them that he's a bit nervous about the implications of searching out these lost Childer. He was here for the final nights when the Sabbat turned droves of people. Now those aimless, untaught, and possibly still Sabbat faithful are the ones they have to find. He is not looking forward to this. The Shepherds are given their first lead. Tracy Rusnak was last seen at the Vortex in Little Five. She was caught feeding in the back corner of the parking lot and played it off as a drunken hookup. Thomasina uses her connections in the school system to find a girl named Tracy Rusnak who graduated high school in 2008. Melisande contacts someone in the Fulton County Police Department to run Tracy's name and discovers that she was arrested for breaking and entering in 2010, although she was a minor at the time. Given that timeline, it seems very likely that Tracy was embraced as a minor, which makes Mel very angry. The shepherds stop off at the Athenaeum so Anton can pick up some supplies, then carpool to the Vortex, a restaurant/bar with a punk aesthetic. They're seated at a table upstairs on the patio. Aaron's starting to get a little nervous. There's a lot of people and a lot of smells, and he doesn't have his bag with him. After the waitress takes their order, she calls out to a Tracy to bring them their waters, which gets the coterie's attention. As Tracy comes out of the kitchen with their drinks, she collides with the server and drops the tray. Anton and Mel try to help her clean it up, but her temper flares in a way that is very familiar to Melisande, and they back off. Mel suspects that Tracy may also be a Bruja and volunteers to take point. Just to be sure, Anton uses his sharp ring to nick Tracy's hand when she comes back with their waters, and uses Taste of Blood. She is, in fact, a Bruja, of the 13th generation. Given that Bruja have short fuses, Mel suggests they wait to talk to Tracy until she's more alone. They decide to just linger at their table for as long as they can, until eventually they're the only patrons left on the top patio. In case Tracy tries to run, Anton creates a ward against Canites on one of the doors. Now that they're alone, the next time Tracy comes to their table, Thomasina attempts to mesmerize her. It fails, and Tracy's temper flares again. She realizes at least some of what is going on, and the coterie manages to assure her that they're friends and want to help her. They meet in the parking lot after Tracy's shift is over, where Mel answers some of her questions. Tracy was embraced in a bar fight when she was walking home from school and woke up a couple of days later in the woods. She has no idea who her sire is. Philip drives the 5 of them back to Olivia's. The shepherd's first lost child are safely found and delivered. Thank you for tuning into BiteNotes. Remember, liking, commenting, and subscribing does not violate the Masquerade. You can view full episodes of ATL by Night on our YouTube channel. We stream Tuesdays at twitch.tv/ATL by Night. Remember to support us on Patreon and follow us on Twitter, and you can get this lovely t-shirt at our TeePublic. Until next time, good night.